On Saturday mornings, long before the streets begin to fill and the pace of the day starts to quicken, another kind of life slowly awakens in the towns and villages of the Basque Country. Under covered halls, in village squares, around neighborhood markets, people gather almost instinctively, as if responding to an old and familiar custom passed down from one generation to the next. Here, nothing feels rushed. People walk slowly, observing, pausing now and then. You can hear footsteps on the ground, greetings exchanged, conversations beginning without effort. The market is not only a place to buy, above all, it is a place to meet. In Ascagne, Bayonne, Hendaye, Urrugne, Bidat or Anglet, each market has its own rhythm, its own light, its own habits. And yet, behind these differences, there is a shared atmosphere, a common spirit. The stalls are set up early, producers carefully arrange their goods, prepare dishes, release warm and familiar aromas. Little by little, the squares begin to fill. People choose their products with care. They look, they ask, they compare. A piece of cheese, some vegetables, a dish prepared to take home. These are simple gestures repeated for decades, and within these gestures there is something deeply reassuring. Markets have been part of local life for more than a century. They have seen entire generations pass through. Parents who came here as children, and children who now return accompanied by their own families. It is an invisible thread that connects the past to the present. In the heart of the Basque Country, certain ingredients transcend their role as simple food. They become symbols of place, memory, and identity. Among them, the piment d'Espelette stands apart. Grown in the gentle climate between ocean winds and mountain air, these peppers are harvested at the end of summer, then patiently dried under the sun, transforming their vivid red into a signature emblem of the region. Their flavor is not defined by heat, but by balance. Warm, aromatic, and subtly complex. In Basque kitchens, they replace black pepper, seasoning dishes with a character that is unmistakably local. At the market, strings of piments d'Espelette hang like small lanterns, connecting everyday life to centuries of agricultural tradition. They remind us that food here is not only nourishment, but a quiet expression of cultural continuity.
On est la 5e génération dans la famille. On vient de Saint-Jean-le-Vieux, à côté de Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Et on travaille un porc qui est complètement local, qui est né, élevé en liberté au Pays Basque et qui s'appelle l'Ibayama de la filière Quintoa. C'est un porc qui était en voie d'extinction il y a 20 ans et qu'un groupement d'éleveurs a relancé afin de faire perdurer la race. Et nous travaillons avec cette race-là pour faire notre charcuterie. Voilà. Et nous faisons un saucisson qui s'appelle le béret basque, qui est de forme ronde pour rappeler le béret. Et il est travaillé dans un moule, il n'a pas de boyau. Et il est fait aussi avec cette chair de l'Ibayama. Et nous travaillons en maigre, avec très peu de gras.
People stop to talk. A few words are exchanged, a piece of news, a memory, a smile. Here, almost everyone knows one another, or at least recognizes each other. And the market becomes more than just a place of commerce. It becomes a space for connection, for memory, for community. Time seems to move differently here. It is not about rushing, but about being present, about observing, about listening, about taking the time to choose what will be cooked later, what will be shared around the table. Many of the products come directly from nearby. Each one tells something about the land, the cheese, the bread, the prepared meals, the fruits and vegetables. Everything carries with it a story, a season, a skill passed down with patience. And through these markets, an entire culture is expressed, almost quietly. A culture built on closeness, simplicity, and respect for tradition. Nothing feels spectacular, and yet everything is full of life. In every town, in every village, the Saturday market is a meeting point, a moment to leave home, to cross paths with neighbors, to stop for a few minutes, sometimes for much longer than expected. Generations mix together. The older ones walk slowly, greeting the vendors they have known for years. The younger ones discover the same places, the same flavors, the same habits, and without even realizing it, they become part of that continuity. As the hours pass, the sun rises higher, the squares grow livelier, bags begin to fill. And little by little, the calm returns. The stalls are taken down, the voices fade, and everyone heads home with what they need for the meal, but also with the feeling of having shared something simple and essential. These markets, scattered along the coast and across the inland towns, form a kind of living map of the Basque Country. Each place has its own identity, its own character, its own way of being. And yet they all share the same idea of everyday life, where people still take the time to live, to speak, and to meet. Because here, in these ordinary spaces, people do not only buy food. A way of life is kept alive, a collective memory endures, and a deep bond remains between the people, their towns, and their culture.